Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today I'm in one of my home binders. This is my Disney binder. So I feel like I recently did a video on my Disney binder. This Disney binder is part of my home reference system, and I am pretty sure I recently did this. So I will link that video below. This video is really more so an update for how I am kind of like going through my pages. So even though I'm using this as my flip through for today, I'm really talking to you today about how I read news pages. And so let's go ahead and jump right into it and show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll get into the actual reusing part of it. So I did go through recently and separated a couple of different sections. This is not going to be the full flip through, so if you want the flip through, please do watch the previous video that I'll link. But this first section, I've now added a divider, and I've included basically all of my notes related to like Disney movies, Disney TV shows. Essentially, I am a Disney animation fan, and so these were all notes related to different Disney animated movies, films, TV series, that type of thing. So I have that section. The second section, I did add a divider in here, and now I've basically created a section for Disney bounding and Disney style. So any style notes, any kind of like planning for making family shirts, that type of thing, it goes in here. And so I included this when I was doing a Disney bounding at home for COVID year. I have those photos, and that's pretty much it in here. I do have a ton of like notes on my computer that I could print and put it in here, but I don't think I'm going to take that step. I normally take screenshots of different shirt ideas or just different ideas that I have for Disney clothing. I just haven't printed those out. I don't know that I would though, but all of that would go in here if I decided to print them out and put them in here. They would go in this section. This third section is my travel section, and I'm actually going to show you that, so we'll bypass that for a second. And then this last one is a fourth divider. It says make your own magic. It still has the month on it because I haven't like gotten rid of that. And then this section is essentially other. I do have in here, and I won't be able to flip it through it to show it to you, but this is just a annual pass holder packet that you receive when you purchase annual passes. It has the magnets and just a note welcoming you as an annual pass holder. So that fourth section again is like kind of an other notes or like miscellaneous things Disney related but not related to movies, not related to style, and not related to travel. So what we've got in this section, this third section, then I am going to flip through. I did again like put these dividers in, so I ended up separating everything. We took a trip right before, like this was literally the week before COVID shut down Disney for a while, and so we took a couple of trips here. I just really liked this page, so I saved it. I also have packing lists in here. I feel like this is one of the ones where I feel like this could be in the fourth section, and I should have like a separate like packing list for Disney that's not in the travel section. I'm not quite sure yet. It's a work in progress, so that is definitely something to note here. This right here, you'll see it only has one side. The other side of it I'll show you in a little bit, but there was basically another sheet here, and what I've been using like just these random vertical layout pages for is to make note of just like journaling about planning for the trips. So it's not my actual plans. I use my catch-all for actual like plans, like to-do lists for trips, but I also like to come in here and just make notes of anything related specific to the trip. This one is completely blank, but maybe this is a good example here where I updated the planner, the Disney planner. I did 2 days worth of updating it. We had a family meeting to discuss our trip to Disney, and then here we were talking about taking a trip New Year's Eve. These notes are old, right? So they are old, but I've kept them in here. Now the thing is, that's just a couple of blank pages. The thing is with these pages, you can see here that I haven't used it. So I did use it very, very lightly. I guess I should say it's not unused, but it's very lightly used. And so what I decided to do was, instead of just using it once like this and just saving multiple pages over time, what I decided to do, and the whole purpose of this video, is really to make a decision to reuse pages. And so I'm going to flip all the way to the front and show you what this looks like. And so, just as a caveat, I've already started this. So that's the first thing. I did go through and try to pick pages that were like not heavily used, and I decided to prioritize these cyanotype pages. They're very blue, and I want to be able to fill them out to a level where I feel comfortable. Like at this point, I can like stop using them, but I didn't want to like waste all the stickers and the decoration that I had put on there, and so I wanted to prioritize using these cyanotype pages just because I feel like the blue was the most distracting part of everything. So let me just get into it and show you what this looks like. Now again, caveat here is I've already started decorating it for the second go round, right? So right here, I did not decorate. This is just a random, this is the tape that I used to you'll see. All right, but this is just initially the notes from the first trip that we took, and I glued in a couple of pages and just kind of did it like this. So this is a page that I did not update. This was for the first trip that we took. Right, super cute like that, right? And then right here you can see this tape, which was like right there, right? I have gone ahead and gone through here and updated it and used this blue tape and used this periwinkle Tombow marker to make notes for my second trip. So the first trip I had this in here, and then I had a couple of notes here. I'm not quite sure what happened to them. They were probably post-it notes or something like that. And so I took off the post-it notes and then just put in periwinkle my second trip. Put the date right here in the corner, right? I'm gonna show you here. I did that. All of the periwinkle are my new notes. All of the stickers, like right here, Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, those are notes from the previous trip. The decoration from the previous trips, right? All the stickers and everything from the previous trips. So I'm using the periwinkle as my second trip. Now look at this page. If I look at this page, I am looking at this page and I say it's still very empty, right? I would go in and use this probably even a third time to mark this first trip, mark the second trip, and then go through and have a third trip in here to fill in all of the spots. It's just how I am. I feel like I don't want to waste the pages. They're super cute, and I think it's okay for me to have multiple trips on the same page. So this is right now, this page, this spread has 2 trips in it. It has notes from the trip that I'm planning right now, as well as notes from the trip that we took last year in 2024, right? So I'll flip here, and this is kind of where we left off. This is where my divider is. I'm actually on Tuesday. I just haven't moved my divider. In fact, I'll do that right now. I'm gonna move it right now. So this was last week. Again, the updated parts are all this I don't know what it's the piece of like a washi roll that I found, right? I've got that. I've got the periwinkle Tombows, right? And any new notes I've kind of designated or marked off in some way with the periwinkle, right? So those are all these notes, right? I got those there. I also did decide, and I put this note a little bit earlier, right? I did decide to pull out a single kit. It's Country Cottage by Planners Anonymous, and so any Country Cottage stickers like this one, these, they're all from Country Cottage, and those are all for this trip, the one in 2025, right? And so you'll see on this page that there are 2 trips. For the first trip, I had this note that this is using, it really is another Planners Anonymous kit. I think it's Masquerade, right? So that note, these notes were from that first trip. These stickers are from that first trip. This sticker was also from that first trip, but I wrote in it for the second trip. This sticker also from the first trip. I wrote in it for this second trip. This is actually a sticker for the second trip. These stickers are for the second trip. This is from the first. These are all from the first trip. All right, so I'm gonna flip the page because right here, I did start decorating it, right? So this is Country Cottage. These stickers are from Country Cottage. This one is from Country Cottage, but everything else was from a coloring sheet. In fact, this one, where I cut out a couple of pieces and just glued them in there. But you also can see that the only thing I wrote in the first trip was this note right here. And so for this second trip, I now essentially have like a blending of Minnie Mouse and this Country Cottage and enough writing room for this entire week. So I can write different things here. Now, if it gets full to the point where I feel it's okay for me to actually get rid of this page, then I can absolutely do that. And then I could just move on to use some of the other pages that are like less filled out to me, but this one, there's still lots of empty boxes, so I'm going to use it at least for the second trip. We'll see if I use it for a third trip. All right, I'm going to flip a little bit forward and maybe show you where I haven't blended it, and you can kind of see what it looks like. Now for all of these pages, I have already gone through and like put the washi to get rid of the dates and put the new dates here. So I've done that for all of it. But from this point forward, I have not added any notes for this new trip, right? So these are all the notes from the first trip, right? You can see how much empty space is here, and I just really do not like wasting space, right? So I like white space, but this is, to me, I've used all these stickers and I want to be able to use the page to the fullest. And so I've made the decision to go back in here and for basically the first week of April, take my notes for this upcoming trip, put them here. They'll be in combination with this previous trip, but I think that's totally fine. Like, I'm okay with like ignoring these other notes and, you know, just being able to see my notes because I've decided that the periwinkle is the color for this trip. So that's kind of where we are. Right, here's another week. I did not, like, literally the only thing I wrote was this section, right? There were no other notes in this section. So I just don't want to waste these pages, waste these stickers, right? So now for the second trip, I have essentially the entirety of like the vertical columns, right, to be able to use for that. I still have a little bit of sidebar room as well, right? Here, again, I wrote here. I did write here and I wrote here, but the rest of it you can see is very empty. And again, I just want to fill it out. So I'm going to use all the empty spots with my periwinkle and my country cottage stickers and just be able to use that, right? So here I did write a little bit more and I also filled it in a little bit more with stickers, so there's probably less writing room here, but still there's still plenty of writing room. All right, so that's kind of where we are with this. I'll just go ahead and very quickly flip through everything else for you. This is, you know, like it's 2 different sets or like flipping to a different month of planners, planner months, and so it should be seamless. Right here, 27th, and it goes into the 28th. Again, I put the date already and I've washed out everything, but you can see here the only thing that I had written were the Mickey Not So Scary Halloween party dates and prices, right? Everything else is empty. Like, this is completely blank as a spread, except for, with the exception of basically the sidebar. Right here, I wrote a little bit here, but and Rosie did all this, kind of messy, but like you can see all of this extra space that I still have to write, right? So I am not going to waste it. Right, same thing here. I wrote here and I have one note here, which I could probably just cover up with a sticker, and then I end up with like, what is this? A hair. Oh my gosh. All right, get rid of that. All right, but I have so much writing room here and like the entirety of the side essentially with like, you know, I can block that off or, you know, just leave it there and just work around it. Right, and then again, there's a kind of a weird transition. Here, I actually did write on this one, so I don't know that I would feel super happy about I'll use it, but you know, this one to me is already filled out. I probably should not have used this page, but this one completely empty, like didn't even decorate it, kind of empty, right? This kind of page right here, it's where, because it has 0 stickers, I would go in and use country cottage to decorate it, like to do an actual fully completely country cottage theme using the country cottage kit from Planners Anonymous, and then have it be completely for the second trip. There are no notes for the first trip in here, right? So yeah, again, my point here is to try to reuse these pages. Like, instead of feeling bad that I didn't write in it completely, I'm just going to literally pull the entire thing, place it here, and just put it for a second trip. And the way that my mind operates is because I've denoted it with the periwinkle, I'm able to ignore all of the other notes. It makes it full, but it's not distracting to me. Like these notes here for New Year's Eve, I can just ignore those because I know they're not for this current trip, right? This is, I think, for Halloween. Yeah, this should be Halloween. So I feel like this might throw it off given the time frame of it being June. But I might go in and do a June Halloween spread. You know, I don't know. It could totally be up to that week and that moment, but it's so empty otherwise that I just don't want to waste it, right? So at this point, I ran out of these blue pages, so I wanted just to show you very quickly that some of these other pages are much fuller, so there's less room to write. This one definitely, very little room to write. Gift card here. This one, look how, oh, this one's very full. This is 2 weeks out from the trip, right? Then we have this one a little bit less full, so there's some room to write in here, right? And this is a week out from the trip, so yeah, we'll see how much I fill it out. But I just wanted to, I guess my thought here was like, I wanted to show you what it looks like empty, and then also what I'm doing to make it feel less empty. And at the end of the day, I want to use my planners. And it's okay in my mind to reuse the planner, right? I can update it for my needs. And the way that I'm doing it is to use the periwinkle to denote the new dates, essentially, the new trip. But you can do it however you want to, but don't feel stuck in that, you have a specific date for the planner, and because it's a specific date or old notes in there, that you can't reuse it. I feel like it's possible to do that. Now, this is a specialty planner in the sense of like I'm planning really just Disney trips here and really just taking notes about my Disney trips. So it might not work for everything else, but I don't know. I would challenge you on that idea that it wouldn't work for anything else. Even in something like a catch-all, if you had notes from 2023 or 2024 and otherwise your page was fairly empty and you want to reuse those pages, what's to keep you from putting a box, like a sticker, over those old notes and reusing that spread, especially if you loved the stickers that you used in there? Or why not leave those old notes in there and just put a note to yourself that they're from 2023, everything else from the current year, but that note right there in the box is from 2023. There are ways that we can do this, right? So my way, at least in this go round, is to use periwinkle, which I've mentioned multiple times. I do have it right here. In my little bag, I've got my periwinkle Tombow that I've used for designating all the writing related to this current trip, and that's what I've been doing, is just using the periwinkle to mark off the current trip. Now, for those pages, as I've mentioned, there might be some pages that are still fairly empty even after the second trip. If there are pages like that, there will be a third trip, and I will recycle the pages, reuse the pages once again for that third trip, and I will pick a different theme. I'll pick a different color, I'll pick something else different to be able to use for that third trip, and I will fill it out until it is, to my mind, completely full and I can no longer use those pages. But this particular home reference binder, the Disney binder, especially the Disney travel section, I don't want to have single trips. Like, my whole goal is to be able to like reuse, recycle, look at my old trips in reference to my current trip. So this whole system of like reusing it across time is, to me, very impactful and kind of insightful to see what my old notes were from last year or the year before. But even if it's not, even if they were just empty pages and I felt bad about throwing them away like that, just reuse them. I would feel bad about throwing them away, so I'm reusing them. I get the benefit of getting it with the notes from the previous trips, so that is very helpful to me, but that's just an added benefit. Definitely just use your pages, right? So that's my soapbox for the day. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you understood what I was doing. Again, just kind of reusing it, but it might be messy, so please do leave a comment, ask any questions that you have. If it was a little bit unclear to you, please do ask. But I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel, and until the next video, bye guys.